What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? Let's go. I don't know if you guys saw the picture, but I got smoked in the eye last night by a 2x4 on the construction site. If you guys do construction, I mean, I was just leaving to go get supplies. I took my safety goggles off. I walked down. As I was walking out, boom. So just make sure you guys keep that equipment on at all times on the job site, my friends. But yeah, it was a good shiner, I'm going to get a lot into AMC. I'm going to make a lot of people feel great about the play. I mean, going forward, it looks great. And even this quarter, we're going to look down. People are saying, well, we weren't profitable, but we should have been. And we would have been if, you got to take into account that Dune 2 should have been in this quarter. It's supposed to be the biggest movie of the year. So even if it would have brought in about another 300, 400 million in the beginning, because what most people see the film right away. So it's going to do a huge amount in those first 2-3 weeks. So Dune would have made this number easily over 2.2, 2.3. And at that point, AMC would have been profitable again. And that's what I want people to understand. We would have been profitable 3 quarters in a row when we shouldn't have been profitable. And but that writer's strike finally hit us. So just want to point that out real quick. Give me 1 second here. I thought I had a drink. Let me go grab my drink real quick, and then we're going to get into AMC and the play and then the no voters, because I'm gonna destroy the no voters quick. And then after we get over this shit, because the pollute thing, all this pollute thing did on Twitter. And if you don't have Twitter, trust me, it's all it's talking about. We'll get into that in a minute. And if you don't see what's going on here, it's crazy. But it's dividing the shit out of the community once again. And I'm gonna undivide the no voters. All of these Ethan guys, all of these idiots. I'm gonna destroy you. Go ahead and counter this argument, because I'd love to fucking hear it when I'm done with this. And then after that, hopefully you guys get your head out of your asses and just rejoin the fucking community and we're a community again. Because again, we're all getting fucked in the ass by the same guys, and you want to point fingers at each other. It's the stupidest shit I've ever seen. But we'll get into that in a minute. Let me just go grab a pop. I will be back in like 10 seconds. Alrighty. Yeah, if you don't got your bong ready, man, perfect time. Let's take one together, let's take it for the pain, because my face does hurt. Yeah, dude, did you see if you look at the top of my eye, you can see it. There's a cut, and it's less than a half an inch from my eye. The edge of that 2x4 barely missed my eye, dude. That was bad. All right. All right, so let's get into this. Let's get into AMC. Let's get into all the stuff here. And, like I said, show the no voters, clip it out, whatever you want to do. I don't care. Show them this little argument, and let's get into this, because they all say the same thing. How's your yes vote working for you? Well, before we even get into that, let's get into AMC. So if you guys look over here, this quarter, like I said, we're going to end at about 1.75, I would say, probably at the end of this quarter. By the end of this weekend, we'll end at 1.75. So, I mean, if you would, like I said, if you would have added Dune 2, we would have ended 2.2, 2.3 billion, if not higher. Like I said, that was supposed to be the #1 movie of the year. So, take with that what you want. But like I said, AMC would have had a profitable quarter this year, but that strike fucked us. Now, if you guys go ahead and you look over here at AMC, and you look at their profits, and you look at everything that we've been going through the years, and we're going to get into the no voters here in about 1 second here. So if you guys look at the revenue here, and you look at the movies compared to next year, compared to this year, which we're going to get into in a second, the box office next year should do way better. Now, one of the things that this shows you here is it talks about how we have 3.91 billion in revenue, and it shows the growth. But one of the things you guys want to do is you want to look up at the top, because this isn't fully updated. So one of the things you want to look at is up here at the top, you will see AMC's had a total revenue of 4.7 billion in the months of September through September. So AMC is generating, they're getting back to where they're going to be pre-COVID levels. Their debt now is back down to pre-COVID levels. Now, a lot of people sit here and they want to scream at Aron and destroy him. And trust me, I'm not going to sit here and everyone's, oh my God, I have drilled him over decisions, and I'm not going to keep going over the same shit. But let's get into the no voters and the decisiveness and all this crap. And you just saw it with Gasparino. You guys, like everybody on Twitter, they do the same shit like a couple times a year. Gasparino goes over to the fucking MMTPL community. We're going to help y'all out, and oh my God, we're going to look at the best friends, blah, blah, blah. 10 minutes, he uses it just to shit on AMC, and now you had division over there. That's all it is. It's the same shit. Pollute comes over today, he buys AMC shares. Okay. I don't give a fuck. A person like Pollute, I don't give a fuck if you have shares. It doesn't fucking affect me. Who cares? You're not going to come be a hero. You're not going to suddenly flock everything in and be the savior. No. If you really want to fucking help, all right, you have tons of fucking cash, your foundations, your homes, all this stuff. You do charity events, tons of shit. All right, partner with AMC, give them $50 fucking million. Charitable event, you can write it off. Perfect. Give them $50 fucking million. Buy a ton of movie tickets, ton of their merchandise, and give it away at your charities. You want to fucking help? Sweet. Do shit like that. You have the ability to do that if you really want to make changes. That's how you do it. You buying fucking 50,000 shares, 10,000 shares, it's not going to fucking do anything. We have watched. A guy asked me the other day, look at this volume in AMC. It's fucking crazy. Why are we getting no price movement? What do you mean? It's called barcoding. People... You can have a shit ton of volume, but if it's not the right volume, it doesn't fucking matter. When they're sitting and they're trading in between the NBBO, not fucking raising it, then funneling in some retail orders when they choose to, then shorting them right back to the prices they want to collect the premium on. This isn't new shit. You can have a shit ton of volume, but when you look at the end of the day, what's it say on all the fucking sites? 60% short volume. And then what, fucking the other 90% of that now is going into internalizers and all this other shit. And very few, about 8%, is hitting the markets when they need it to move up for a second. It's nothing crazy. It's not like we don't know what the fuck's going on. So, you need to have buying volume, buying pressure. Like I said, it has to be correct volume. So, back to this. When you look over here at AMC, and you now look at next year, and you look at what they've done revenue-wise and changes. Now let's get to the no voters real quick before we even keep getting into AMC. Plu comes in, and all of a sudden it's the same shit, right? Plu comes in, I'm buying this shit with AMC. Look at everybody, I'm the greatest thing. Then he quotes Ethan. Then he quotes fucking Amy. Then he talks about, this. And all of a sudden, it's just the same shit. Boom. All these fucking, the shills, the bots, the same crap. Oh my God. Aron. All right, let's destroy this shit right now. You remember when Aron, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, was going, hey, we need shares. And you guys were watching Trey fucking Trades and Matt Coors. And then you remember, he goes, we need these shares. We're on $20. We can fucking raise $2 billion, $1.8 billion. Sell 100 million shares. Use the run-up. Sell it maybe even higher because the price keeps going up. No, you're trying to fucking kill our squeeze. No, he's trying to do what every CEO would do. He's trying to save the fucking company, look at you guys and say, hey, if we raise $1.8 billion today, guess what we can do? Not have to worry about shit going forward. We can pay down a substantial amount of our highest interest rated debt, and we can save millions and millions. We would have $1.9 billion still left over. We can pay down millions in debt at a giant discount. We can buy fucking theaters that are cheaper than shit, pennies on the fucking dollar. Why everyone's going out of business doing Chapter 11. Now we're gonna break down every fucking single thing these people say, and I hope they listen to this. And then when they sit there and go, "Wow, I'm a fucking idiot," all right, we forgive you. Grow up, move on. Let's go on to the real enemy. Let's go to the bigger fucking purpose here. Now, if Aron wanted, so if we would have gave him that money at that point, if we would have let him do it, because that wasn't to kill the fucking squeeze. Because what would have happened? Did you guys get your squeeze? Was your squeeze killed by not giving it to him? By letting him do all this other stuff? Did we squeeze when we said no? No. He had to come up with fucking ape. And he had to come up with some way to raise capital. Because these same fucking people. And now this is why I'm going to start to destroy them all too. What was Trey Trades' last video? Do you remember what it was? It was when he came on. I came on his fucking show. And at the end of the show, what did he say? And me and him talked quite a bit after, and he fucking felt like he let everybody down, and he had his mental breakdown and fucking left. He came on there and he goes, at the end of the thing, I showed him everything, and I said, we should have done this. They would have kept fucking shorting. It wouldn't have changed the play, but it would have changed us fundamentally in every way, shape, and form. Nobody is acknowledging the fact that we are burning hundreds of millions of dollars. That's a big fucking deal. We need to change that. We need to fix our balance sheet. We need to be able to start getting rid of these fucking trash theaters. Upgrade some of these ones like he wants to do that are almost profitable and can become profitable. We would have had more theaters now than we would have if we would have done it back then. He would have had to do another dilution again, you guys. To this day, we still wouldn't have had to dilute because he would have paid down so much fucking debt. He could have still paid down $600 million in debt in our theory with at the discounted price. He could have attacked the shit out of those highest debt, got rid of some bonds. Dude, he could have upgraded a lot of theaters, moved these candies faster, popcorn, got it all out rolling quicker. We could have been at a way better position than we would have ever been. And again, he would have never, and it would have been 100 million shares compared to how many shares have we fucking diluted since you said no? Oh, and even Trey was like, yeah, you're right, we fucked up. Now, to this day, they do the same thing. Oh, pre-split numbers this. Okay, let's look at the short interest today. It's almost 22 million short reported. 22 million shares reported short. Guess what? Pre-split, that's 220 million fucking shares shorted. Does that seem like a pretty shorted fucking stock to you? 220 million shares shorted? Huh. So, Adam Aaron showed you why we were burning through cash, and as you were saying no, if we didn't come up with fucking ape, he had to go, shit. If he wanted to, right then and there, if he wanted to fuck your investment and kill your company and end your play, guess what he could have done? I'll just burn through the capital I have and then file Chapter 11 bankruptcy like all these other fucking companies are doing. That's what they're all fucking doing. And instead he goes, nope, we can come up with a tool to still raise capital called ape. And they fucking smashed it. They did what the market did to it, but he even showed you without that capital, we would have been fucked. Now, without that capital, without AP, again, converted it, raised more capital to again where we can go ahead and keep going. So congratulations. Us doing yes after you said no made us not go fucking bankrupt. Great job. And he told you that over and over. And no, you're working with the fucking corporations. Then he would have fucking just burned through the cash and fucking filed bankruptcy. That's what he would have done. Your play would have been fucked, and that would have been it. That would have been it. It was right there at his fingertips, but he didn't take it. Why? According to you, that's what he wanted to do. He could have, over and over. Has he made fucking dumb choices? You're damn right. Should he have bought a fucking gold mine at the time? To this day, I will never defend that. That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. The Antera deal? It was dumber than fuck, but what it ended up doing was creating a floor, put the price back up, made the arbitrage play go up. We still got fucked because that's what the fucking market makers do. They literally came out, Ken Griffin came out and told you. Everybody's told you. Look at this before I even keep going, because this will also show you. For all you people in interactive brokers, for all you guys over on your, why is like nothing happen when I buy and blah, blah, blah. Brokers are apparently becoming market makers. Look at this. Interactive brokers routed 2.4 billion shares a month of their customers' orders to their own dark pool. Not even fucking market makers. Dark pools. Internalized them and then fucking was taking money off the top. What the fuck? They're not even allowed to be doing that shit. Look at this. They made $261 million and they paid a $3.5 million fine. Where's our buying pressure? If you have brokers doing market maker shit on the side now, holy fuck. You're also extra buying pressure. This should have been a fucking, hey, you're not a market maker. What the fuck are you doing? Google right now if they're a market maker. They're not. They don't have they're not supposed to be doing this. Hey, here's a $3 million fine. Just keep the fucking 250 million plus. The hell? But anyways, back to this shit. So what he did instead is what CEOs do. He goes, hey, if we're going to turn this fucking shit around, we need to fucking create revenue. That's what we got to do. We got to get our revenue back up because what happened? COVID came on. And what happened when COVID came on? When COVID happened, they piled the shit out of debt. Why? Because their doors were fucking closed. Crazy. Everyone, look, he took over and their fucking debt skyrocketed. You don't want to put COVID into play and shutting down and none of that fucking matters? Like I said, their revenue next year should be easily 5.5. That's just from box offices. Now, that's not counting the new pretzels, the new candy line. Now, one thing, you guys think about this. What is one of the biggest detriments to movie theaters? It's when fucking people sneak in food and drink. Put it in their purse. That's where they make their most money. And when people sneak it in, it takes their biggest money-making asset away. It takes it away. Now, what they're trying to do, because this is something people don't understand with the candy. Okay, AMC priced it to where they're cheaper than gas stations. And those pretzels are good as fuck. I haven't tried the almonds because I got this bad tooth. And I don't want to risk it. You know, I don't want to risk that. I already talked about that tooth before. But what they're doing is they're going to say, all right, less people are going to go to a gas station because it's going to cost less for them to do it here, and our profit margins are fucking bigger. So we're taking that away to where they're not going to stop at the gas station and sneak in food. What else are they doing? They're upgrading, they're adding more candy. So what they're doing is going, all right, Hershey's, Nestle, all that crap. Your shittiest candy, listen to this, because this is huge. People don't even think about this. And this is what I talk about. This is why I hate people that don't understand assets of business. So they'll look over at Hershey and Nestle and say, all right, we're adding new candy and it's taken off because it is taking off. And they're going to say, we're going to have to get rid of your shitty candy. We have less shelf space available for you. We need to add more of our stuff. And now what they're going to do is replace their worst selling candy for stuff that they get to choose, whatever they want. What do we think will do better than this pile of shit that's selling like crap? And then what's that going to do? Now they're going to add more shelf space. And what's that also do, guys? That limits shelf space available to them. So now they can go up to Nestle and say, just like Walmart and Cub, they say, our shelf space is limited. You're going to need to pay us more or drop your prices to fucking compete. Or we need a bigger take of what you're making. We need a bigger percentage every time you sell a Nestle bar. Sweet. That's, again, he's killing two birds with one stone by eliminating their biggest thing of people bringing in food. He's making his competitor now need to pay bigger margins for having shelf space, and he's replacing shittier candy, and now he can put in whatever he thinks that will outperform that. That's incredible. And then on top of that, it's all going to go into stores. He already talked about if it takes off by next year right away, he'll have that shit in stores, just like he did with popcorn. Perfect. Guess where he's going to go probably right away? Walmart, right away. It'll roll out just like it did, and it'll have a successful launch. There's another 100 million plus, 200 million plus, because it's chocolate and candy. Who knows how much that could be? But like I said, when you put it in your grocery stores, his price is the same, if not cheap. It's way cheaper to get his thing than you go get these $8.99 bags of fucking, dude, I don't even know what the hell that I think it's Nestle with the chocolate-covered pretzels and all that stuff, but they're expensive as shit, and they call them, like, specialty fucking candy. Well, ours will be cheaper in stores. They'll be making a lot of money through that. Popcorn will take off again next year. We're not even talking distribution yet. And that's why I keep talking to everybody. Next year, we should have been profitable 3 quarters in a row, but they moved Dune 2 back. We should have been profitable 3 times in a row. AMC is no longer burning cash. Next year, we're also going to have alcohol. They're also doing it, like I said, if they get that licensing agreement next year with the NFL that he said they're currently in talks with, that's huge. That's a lot more revenue all of a sudden coming their way. If he gets into production, which we'll get into in a minute, that could be another massive revenue stream for these guys. But again, he said if he had seven concert films next year, we should easily bring in 6.2, 6.3, if not more, because he also said he wants to add more and more merchandise, and he sees merchandise easily topping 100 and 150 million next year in sales. So we should easily do over like I said, 6.5 billion in revenue. That's going to be to the point where you're paying next year debt without needing to dilute again. And on top of that, we'll see if he if he lands 1 or 2 movies. That's going to be massive. AMC's future is, like I said, it's looking very, very, very bright, because I want to show you guys next year's lineup. I'm not even showing you all the movies. I'm going to show you about 25, 26 movies, and you're going to go, holy shit, it's going to be way better than it was next year, or this year. Just to start it off, you got Deadpool, which we all know Deadpool should kill it. I think that movie should easily, that's easily a $500 million, if not more. Ryan Reynolds, and then with Wolverine, that easily could be $1 billion movie. Dune 2, which was set to be $1 billion movie, got pushed into next year. You got Gladiator 2, Bad Boys, that should kill it. You got a Transformers movie. You got a Twister movie. The Fall Guy looks super funny. A Joker movie. This should do really well in the box office. This Joker movie should kill it. We got a Planet of the Apes. That should destroy it. You have Mean Girls. You have Beetlejuice 2. You got Forza. This is a Mad Max movie. You have The Lion King coming out. Let's see here. What else we see here? You got Venom 3 coming out. Let me pull up just one site here too. I know I'm missing a shit ton. You got A Quiet Place. Those Quiet Places usually do very, very well. You have a Lord of the Rings. That has a massive, massive following. That should destroy. These Despicable Me, these are like one of the biggest kid movies out there. They love this movie. This should destroy it. Let's see here. I don't know what this Wicked movie is. I've been seeing a ton about it. Honestly, I don't know much about it. But like I said, you got a Mean Girls. You got a Saw movie. You got a Sonic the Hedgehog. You got a Spider-Man movie. These Kung Fu Panda movies do insanely well with kids. This Garfield movie should do very well. Like I said, you got Lion King. You have a Harry Potter coming out. Tomb Raider. Sherlock Holmes, I don't really like those Sherlock Holmes. I don't know all that. That might do well. I'm not going to sit there and hype up Sherlock Holmes. But just those movies alone, like I said, we should destroy it next year. I know I'm missing a lot. And they're going to come out with more. And now you need to add even more of our concert films that he said he's already got lined up. If they do get an Eminem concert, because there are rumors he might be doing a tour, that'd be sweet. God, I think an Eminem concert would destroy it, but we'll see what happens there. So, as you guys can see, next year, and now we no longer have a writer strike, we no longer have an actor strike, so now you're going to have content. The one thing that was holding AMC back was content, and now there's nothing stopping it. Content's going to be coming, it's going to be flowing. All these writers need to get back to work. They took time off. All of these production movies took a huge hit while they sat there and just were fucking greedy pieces of shit. So now what that means is they're going to move movies up faster, and they're going to need more movies to come out. So now we're going to get even more and even more content. You're seeing a lot of these streaming companies. What's happening with them? Well, problem with those guys, look at what it's costing to do streaming now. You get HBO Max, Netflix, Hulu, Showtime, Amazon Prime. You get a Stars, Disney. You're already at $90. Well, now you need to buy basic cable. If you want to watch sports, you need to buy a sports package, $99, $105. Next thing you notice, you guys literally are worse than cable. And you gotta wait even longer to watch the new shows. So you guys are watching the merger. Streaming already says they plan on making more movies or more The streaming services, even Netflix, said they're planning on making more movie releases instead of putting them on their theatrical releases. Sorry, Murphy, come here. You always eating my shooter. So they already said they're going to release more movies next year, theatrical instead of on their streaming service. They're already merging together. Like I said, content's going to be coming in. This year, we already did $211 million on just 2 concert films. We're already a top 9 distribution. Hopefully, by the end of the year, we pass Angel Studios. But what this does is next year, it gives us the ability to also say, hey, we're getting all these concert films going, but look at what we were able to do with concert films. We're going to go, I guarantee we're going to get at least 1 or 2 movies next year, real movies that we will be distributing on. And that's what we need to start doing. Get a lot more quality movies, do distribution on those, and we can easily become a top 5, top 4. Like I said, distribution alone can start paying off AMC's debt, and we'll see its full effect going into next year, finally, for the first time. So like I said, AMC, guys, this play, the short, like I said, if they want to sit there and do their 10% every time, just say, well, apparently we have 222 million shares shorted right now. Are you worried that there's not enough short shares to cover and make it squeeze? 222 million pre-short shares. Sounds like quite a few shares to me. And that's just what they reported. We already know they've hidden this, hidden that, hidden this. It's all about AMC thriving, AMC not needing to dilute going forward. But once again, when they say, how did your yes vote go? How did your first no vote go? Because I promise you, this play would have been a lot fucking different had you not said no the first time. Because it would have killed our play at $22. No, you would have raised about $2 billion. Because you also, probably 1.2, but with paying off, 600 million plus 20%. Next thing you notice, you're having 800 million. There's 2 billion fucking more we would have had going from that point on. Like I said, it would have been a lot different. So, let's get back into this other stuff. But, one of the things now, so with AMC, as we've established, AMC next year should be profitable. We should be very profitable. We should stop diluting. There should be no longer necessary for us to dilute. And what's happening with the fucking banks? They're completely running over to this bailout program, and they're borrowing billions and billions and billions by the week. They just borrowed another $7.6 billion in 1 week. So if you guys don't think these guys are having problems, just go ahead and look at this spike right here. What other charts are you seeing like this? The problem is these guys all are set to a 1-year loan. There's nothing set to after that. Which means the government says there's no emergency plan. You need to pay these back. So all of these guys have no choice, apparently, but to pay them back according to the feds. They have no measures in place on if they don't. There's no hey, there's extensions, there's nothing. Nobody knows what's going on. The feds don't even know. And when they've been asked, what happens when the banks fucking don't have enough to pay it? And they literally go, well, these are FDIC-approved loans, so what are you gonna do? Have the FDIC cover those? The FDIC's fucking broke. Good luck. So, there's gonna be a problem, guys. And if they extend it again, so what are you gonna do? You're gonna keep extending these fucking loans forever? You're gonna let this new facility get into the fucking trillions? Because that's where it would start heading. They would just say, fuck it. If I can keep getting unlimited 1-year loans at this rate, I'll just fucking pay it, park it over here. Because the problem is they can take it from this at 4.8% and go park one at 5.5. Perfect. So they can go ahead and take a loan here, go park it at another Fed fucking place while collecting a little more interest, and now using that as collateral. It's just, these Fed programs are such a gong show. But the Fed themselves is such a fucking gong show and doesn't know how to run things. We already have established the Feds are negative $131 billion. They're burning money. And on top of that, their unrealized losses are negative trillions. They're the Fed currently themselves financially are in the worst position they've ever been. They have $2.7 trillion in mortgage-backed securities that they bought at the peak. So now all those are bad assets because they're overvalued. They're all overpurchased. They're all overpurchased. So all their assets are worth less than what they paid for. So they're going to take a hit there. They're losing money. The Feds themselves don't know how to run anything. So it's not like they're looking over going, yeah, we got all these things planned in place. No, they're dumb as shit. There's going to be an implosion here. Because they're going to have to look over and say, okay, we got to pick some of these guys. Then you're going to start to see some boom, boom, boom. And like I said, they're delaying dominoes. And everybody gets pissed off when I'm showing you how they're delaying the fucking dominoes. This is how they're delaying the dominoes. But these dominoes have to fall. Next year, come April, what are they going to do? They've been asked. Again, they have been asked directly, what are you going to do? And they have said, I don't fucking know. We'll address it down the road. We'll address it if it happens. What the hell kind of answer is that? You're the government. You should know. Like, you should have penalties. You should have asset claims. I mean, that's what you do to a citizen. If a citizen walked up and borrowed a 1-year loan from you, if a random citizen's company borrowed a 1-year loan from their bank, walked up and said, I need this paid in full or I'm taking your business, they would take the business after 1 year. So there's got to be some kind of fucking penalty. You can't just go ahead and say, well, we'll keep letting you go. I mean, I guess they can, but it's like, again, you're making what a fucking mess. Because now imagine if you're the Feds and come time you sit there and you go, we'll let it go, we'll let it go. Now you have 1.2 trillion there and they're like, okay, we need to collect. They don't have that. They're not going to have it. But now you're going to have all these banks indebted to the Feds. So people thinking that this can just go on forever. No, there's got to be a bomb here. Fuck them. All these fucking criminals can get fucked. You cannot, I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody tells you, the United States entire system, the entire banking system has been a Ponzi scheme to funnel from you in unsuspecting ways so they can keep getting fucking richer. Guess what happens when there's no one to fucking funnel from because they're all poor? And guess what happens when you start to funnel from the rich? They got enough to buy the lawyers. So there comes a time where this has no choice but to end. There will be a bomb, and it will be worse than anything we've ever fucking seen. And that is when they're going to have no choice but to cover. Because they're going to have to, like I said, guys, get the hell out of these banks. Pay their fucking loans off. Pay your credit cards off to these big banks. Get the hell out of them. Give them less collateral. They literally are not allowed to use their profits. You guys look it up. Banks are not allowed to use their profits to invest. They're only allowed to use your stuff as collateral. So take their fucking collateral away so they can't invest or do anything. You strangle the banks who lend them by taking their ability away. You take all of their collateral and assets away on how they can raise capital. And if they can't raise capital themselves, they're going to have to start collecting. Then your margin calls you force them. You force the banks to margin because they got to get that money somewhere. And if you're strangling them from their only way to make profits, the only other way to do it is to get the billions of dollars that are backed up to them. You guys, I have showed you guys since literally 2 years ago how to win this. We should have gave Aron his fucking shares, let him get debt manageable, under control, let him turn the balance sheet around to where we were profitable, no longer needed dilution, did a one-time big one more, why we got it ran back up. Stop being so short-sighted. Not everything was about killing the squeeze. It was about fundamentally saving the company that was burning hundreds of millions of dollars. And if you guys would have said no, and if he would have not been able to come up with APE, AMC would have been bankrupt today. AMC would have burned, because they were still burning. We still would have been, or we would have had about $180 million. And we would have been on complete fucking life support. And the stock would have been down way worse than what they even raised money at now. So like I said, guys, a long time ago. We either needed to dilute to where we could pay the debt down to manageable enough to where we're not getting fucked up the ass in interest every single year. We need to start being profitable enough to where we no longer need to dilute and we can manage that debt and we can pay that debt down, pay it down. That way the company's completely safe going forward. They can now upgrade at a slower pace. You no longer need to dilute. You can now, as a CEO, go, all right, I can now learn how to manage my budget. And now you have more incentive to fucking do better because, again, all these people that think Aron wanted his shares to go to zero, you're a clown. Aron tried to come up with Ape and do all that shit after we said no because he didn't want his company to go broke and all of his shares and most of his net worth at the time to go to fucking zero. It's really not that crazy of a conspiracy. He wasn't out to fucking get you. He's not just gonna say, I can get my company and run this and ride this, turn it around, turn it profitable, do all this stuff, get into this, bring in enough revenue to manage that, pay all this, get my shares to a great price because all you guys said the same thing. Aron can't sell during squeezes. Okay, so how does Aron then make the most money? He fundamentally changes his fucking company around and he makes his shares worth the most value. And then that's how he himself gets his most fucking money for his buck. So for everyone going, why the hell would a CEO want to change the company around? Duh, that's why. Said everybody thought every single person aspect and anything was just about this play. The squeeze play was out to get them. Because there was a fucking ton of shit coming at us. There was a ton of fucking people. And even the people you guys followed on the first no vote, Matt Kors, Trey, all those guys, they disappeared. One literally went and worked for Meet Kevin. One literally went and worked for your enemy. God, what a trustworthy guy. He obviously didn't steer you guys in the wrong fucking direction. So by saying no the first time, by letting the company's value drop, by letting us burn through cash, never acknowledging the balance sheet, ripping on people like Tony DeNaro, who was for fucking years going, guys, we got to fix the balance sheet. I was saying, guys, we got to fix the balance sheet. You're a shill. No, I just know we need to fix the balance sheet because if I'm a fucking short, I know if you guys don't fix the balance sheet, there will be dilution coming down the road and I can wait anyways. And guess what fucking happened? So again, everybody did something wrong at some point, and he had to work with the fucking tools that were available. Once he worked with the tools, like, he had to come up with 8 because he would have went fucking bankrupt. He told you that straight to your face, and you told him he's a piece of shit, and then didn't acknowledge the fact we just burned another 100 million plus that quarter and had like 600 million left. So you mean we're on pace to have 4 more quarters worth of money? You said, guys, zoom out of that play. Now, speaking of the government, speaking of the feds, speaking of all of this, these bombs, the people that think that this play can go on forever. No, the play is turning around in our favor finally. This is why I say don't worry. I don't give a shit if Pollute comes. Pollute, you want to help again? Donate money to AMC. Give them $50 million, buy their shit, give it to charity. Perfect. That's how you help AMC. You coming in, having some people, maybe 100 people more, 1,000 more people jumping on, buying the stock to have it go right back fucking down from big old Kenny boys. It's not going to save the people that they need. We right now need to turn the fundamentals completely around, and that's what we're doing. And next year, we also will have alcohol. But speaking of this shit, when you look over here, you got the deficit's growing at such a rapid pace. The Fed, we're losing so much money and we are generating less money than ever. On top of that, our interest payments are skyrocketing coming next year. We have that 7.6 trillion to be renewed, where we will have over 2 trillion in interest payments a year. Now, if you go look over here, I want to show you guys something because this is pretty fucked up. And this is what I said back when this all started. Guys, they're enslaving us through these repos. They're enslaving us through the fucking spending and the debt, and they don't give a fuck. Look at this number because it's in fucking insane, and then we'll get up into the other stuff. Since 2020. Okay, so in 3 years, we have added 7 trillion to our debt. The United States has added 7 trillion. We are now at 34 trillion. So in 3 years, we added a fifth of our total debt to our debt. And you know what we decided to do? What did we decide to do, guys? Our government decided to lift the cap. So now they can spend whatever the fuck they want. I have shown you, since they raised the cap, made it unlimited, just in those few short months, they have spent 2.2 trillion more dollars since they've made it unlimited. So, what does that mean? Next year, they're probably going to add about 5 to 6 trillion alone to our debt. And we will hit 40 trillion. 40 trillion. And they're not slowing down. And we're going to break down these numbers, and I'm going to show you they're not slowing down. They're actually speeding up. We're spending even more at a more rapid pace. And if they keep up at the pace they're going, we're going to easily break 40 trillion. And we're going to add over 14 trillion in debt in 4 years. Now, if we hit 40 trillion and we renew that 7.6 trillion next year, and this is what I told you guys, this is when we will win no matter what. This is we'll make your squeeze no matter what. What's going to end up happening at that moment is they will look over and say, because at that point, trust me, not a single country will be buying it other than what the minimum amount they have to buy. They're going to look over and say, the rate we need to give out on these treasury bonds next year is going to be almost 8 to 9 to 10%. 8 to 9 to 10%. Now, the banks are already struggling, okay? They've already came out. They've already came out and said, we cannot afford to raise interest rates for our customers. We can't. They're not profitable enough. So, these banks aren't profitable enough to raise rates. And most of them are still at 0.02, 0.05 at a high rate one. What is everybody going to do next year when they're going to look over and say, I can make 10% towards my retirement. I can keep up with inflation. I can actually build a retirement account. Or I can put it in a bank and not keep up with inflation and lose money. Nobody. Everybody's going to wake up to that. And not only that, investment firms, all of these people are going to wake up to it. I showed you guys how much every month was leaving and leaving and leaving and leaving the banking system. 1.3 trillion of these investment firms have removed their fucking money out of these guys, out of the stock. They're getting the fuck out of there. They're moving over to these money market funds, and they're going to keep going there. These are going to become your new type of banks. You're going to have people going over, I can make a fucking fortune over here. I'm not going to bother with a bank other than to pay my bills. Well, what's also happening? A lot of these people are moving into these broker firms directly. What is happening in the world, guys? Everybody's cutting out the middleman. So these brokers are going, if I can get these guys money out of the fucking banks by offering them, what are they doing? I'll give you 5.5%. Oh, come over here. Those alone are already 5.3% higher than banks. Do you see where I'm going with this? People are going to be funneling out. They already estimated 1.5 trillion should leave plus next year, but they also haven't taken into account what I just told you. They didn't take into account the government spending. They didn't take into account the 7.6 trillion of renewed fucking debt that needs to come. Let me ask you a question. What is the government going to do if suddenly they go, we don't even want to renew this debt. We just want to cash in our fucking securities. We just want to cash in these bonds. Fuck them. Now what? Do you see what I mean? There's problems coming. There's problems coming that they cannot stop. The problems are so fucking big, you guys. These bubbles are so big. And I'm going to show you this, a couple more here in a second. They're so big, even if they printed by the trillions, they can't keep up with it. And if you print more by the trillions, your inflation and your prices are going to be so out of control, you're going to have a rebellion. You will. You will have people with 2 jobs. 60% of your country will have 2 jobs, and none of them will still be able to afford a life. The United States is heading down a super fucking rocky road because we have nothing but corruption inside of our government. They're sending money everywhere. What did we just do today? Yesterday, sorry. We had to get one last right before the fucking year ends. Hey, we got to send another 250 billion to Ukraine, or million to Ukraine quick. What happens if Ukraine loses to Russia? What happens to all that money, all that support, are they going to give it back to us? Is Russia going to say, oh, let me take that on for you? And no, fuck no. So keep sending it there. But that's a perfect excuse to launder money if you know you're going to lose a war. Why? Because I'm showing you right now, they lose money everywhere. They miscount money everywhere. They overspend everywhere. There's mismanaged money everywhere. And if suddenly Russia wins, who's going to go over there and count the books and say everything? They're going to say, well, fucking, we didn't think they were going to lose, or we did blah, blah, blah. And it's all gone, covered up, taken care of. Boom. Pocketed. Perfect, Brian. You'll actually be leaving right now. Brian, you'll be leaving right now, my friend. Bye-bye. Now, we remove fucking clowns. So back to this. So, look at this shit. So the United States can't stop spending. We can't stop getting into wars because right now we're burning money. We're losing money. We're generating less revenue than fucking ever. Good job, America. We're building it back ever. Prices are fucking going up. Bankruptcies are skyrocketing. I've shown you. We're peaking out again on corporate bankruptcies. Good job building America back. Nobody can afford loans. We're getting smashed on commercial real estate. So what does that mean? None of us are opening up. Which one of you guys or anybody you've known in the last 6 months was like, dude, I'm going to open up a business and I'm going to go get a building and I'm going to open up a company and just let's try it out. None of them. It's the chances of success right now. Don't trust me. You can still do it. I'm not trying to discourage you if you want to do it. Just know it's hard as fuck right now. So you're going to have to put in a lot more effort than you thought you could ever imagine. Like I said, it's crazy out there. So, we can't stop fucking spending. The interest alone next year will be the highest expense for the United States. So, we'll be paying out the biggest fucking expenditure. Will be paying people to hold our bonds. And this is one of my biggest fears, and that's what I've always was talking about. If these other countries don't buy them, they have no choice but to make them so enticing, we will all buy them. Well, guess what happens if the United States ever does default? They're going to do it when their own people own all the fucking treasury bonds. When all of their own people are invested and that's who they're paying. That's when they'll default. They're not going to default on other countries when all these other countries have all this debt. They're going to default on us when we own it. So that's been one of my biggest fears of a reset of them going, all right, we're going to bleed them in. We're going to push them to the edge. We're going to make them have to invest in our debt. Then we'll pay them interest for a while. It'll be a high-rated interest. We'll let them get through. And if we can't stop spending at this rate, and if anything gets out of hand, boom, we'll default, switch to our digital dollar. We defaulted on the citizens. They, again, took the brunt. The taxpayers are the ones who took it up the ass, not our rich boyfriends that pay us that steal. And that will be their version of a reset. But again, that's the problem, is they're pushing everybody to where they need and where the most money makes sense for them at this moment, which creates a bigger bubble down the road for taxpayers. Who's paying for all of this? Us. Every year, they're taking $2 trillion of our taxes and throwing it out the fucking window, paying it in interest. We're paying $2 trillion extra in taxes. They had to raise taxes and raise it so we could keep up with this. So we can still not make fucking money. So what are we going to do? What is the United States going to do? It's election year. You're not raising taxes again. That's not an option. Your only option right now to generate fucking revenue is these wars that we, for some reason, have to keep getting involved in. Why? They generate profit. America needs to generate profit somehow. The only way currently is wars. Because we're not making enough corporate taxes, we're not making enough income taxes, and people aren't spending enough. They're hoarding every penny they got. And guess what? Even by doing that, we already showed there was 40% of Americans cannot afford a $400 emergency unexpected expenditure without getting help from a parent or a friend or a coworker or whatever. That's insane to me. That should not happen. And we already showed you more people than ever. More people than ever are working 2 jobs. That's insanity. That is unsustainable. This is not something they can continue to do. And on top of that, look what's happening to these banks. I'm showing you this over and over, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And the downfall you're going to see next year. This is when you're going to start to see banks collapse. This is what we want to start to see. Because you're seeing all of these office buildings. I've shown you tons of these stories. Tons of these stories. You're having all of these offices coming up. Massive buildings. And they're selling for 52% loss. 50% loss. These guys are taking 40 million, 50 million, 100 million losses over and over and over. Because even they know this shit's about to get fucked and I got to take something now. Well, look. U.S. banks could get slammed with another $160 billion in commercial real estate. This was just the other day next year. This is a bigger impact than the fucking 2008 financial crisis. And that's not even talking about the smash that's got to happen in the housing market yet. The government looks over and they go, we're going to have to try and bail this out with $52 billion by buying these up cheap and converting them into homes. And it's not even getting passed. It's not happening. Fuck them. So what are they going to do next year when these start to flood? Well, guess who has most of these fucking loans? Middle banks. You're going to see a ton of these middle banks go under. And this next year is another bomb that they can't stop. They can't. Good luck. It's not supposed to go off till next year, and it will. But when you start seeing these banks getting smashed, like I said, this is what we want. Banks in the United States are evil. Back in the day, they made sense because there wasn't these other options. There wasn't ways to make money. There was, obviously. You could have went and did, you could have done stocks. You could have bought bonds. You could have done things, of course. You could have got treasuries and things like that back in the day. It's not like all this stuff is brand new. But for the average Joe Schmo that's not going to take time to do those things, learn about those things, because, obviously we know all this stuff, but Not all of them are learning about that, know about that stuff, took a business class. Not a lot of them went over and go, I want to pay somebody to invest for me. Because we have also shown you guys that I just showed you last week. That couple left their money with JP Morgan, and it went from $50 million in their retirement fund to $1 million in 1 year. And JP Morgan goes, what? They told us to take risky bets. And this dude's got fucking Alzheimer's. No, you have a guy who has legally fucking diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And you sat there calling this fucking guy up over and over. Hey, guy, you want me to do this for you? Do this for you? Because you knew you could take advantage of him. And how do I know that you did that, JP Morgan? Because you also have done 276 violations in the stock market. You also financed Jeffrey Epstein's sex island. So for you to take advantage of a grandpa and say, oops, that has Alzheimer's, I'm sure it wasn't oops. Good one. Your fucking dude knew the situation probably. I'm sure his daughter called. And they said that they told you multiple times. This dude's got fucking Alzheimer's. Stop fucking asking him stuff. Nah, we're gonna keep calling because I gotta milk that money. Bigger bonus. Yeah, we know, a piece of shit. Like I said, douchebags. But this is what we need. The root of all evil currently is banks in the United States. We need their heads to be cut off. We need their fucking deposits to plummet. And we need their profits to go ahead and follow them. And this is how we get them done. We go ahead, we pay our shit off. We move our accounts out of these fucking criminal banks. And we stop doing business with them. We make their company start losing profits, losing investors, and making them have to change with the times or fucking die with them. And that's the thing. And that's what AMC needed to do. They needed to change with the times or die with it. They could not sit there. They're doing the best thing that they can do fundamentally. They're kicking the middle guy out completely. And like I gave you with the example on candy, they have to deal with Nestle and Hershey. So what you do is you go to them and say, hey, we need a better cut because we have limited shelf space because we have our own candy. We, again, need you to get rid of your shitty candy, and we're going to put in whatever brands we want. Guess what? Maybe they make... Guys, they're doing chocolate. What? There's so many people that love snow caps. I love snow caps. My mom loves snow caps. Boom. Imagine if they make their own version of a snow cap. That would be fucking sweet. Gobs or Whoppers. All sorts of things like that. They can start making their own version and then kicking the competitor off. And saying, also, you need to pay more for this space. Like I said, it's a win-win-win. So not only are they kicking out their competitors and their middlemen, what they are dealing with, they're making them pay AMC more. Perfect. That's exactly how we get profitable. But these banks are becoming less and less important. And the thing is right now, this is the dilemma that you guys aren't realizing. The government knows it. They all know this. They're looking over going, these guys are too big to fail. So we're obligated right now to bail them out, do this, and this. But they were too big to fail because at the time, yeah, sure they were. But as more people back away, get away from them, they get less and less involved in the financial market. More and more of these firms start to leave, go into these money market funds. Because like I told you guys, next year, those rates on the treasury bonds are going to be too spicy. I mean, I'm even going to have to get involved maybe on some of these. They're going to be so high, it's not even fucking funny. Banks are going to be literally pointless, other than people going, I need to pay my bills. Well, if these brokers, if other things can go ahead and pay bills straight directly to them, people will start to get the fuck out of them completely because they are becoming less and less pointless. I've already shown you other countries. When banks get less systematically involved, what do? They remove them from too big to fail. You guys, that's your key. How do we fuck these guys up, these criminals? I've told you forever, get out of them. Make them less involved systematically, and guess what? They can remove them from too big to fail, and then we can watch them burn. Especially criminal JP Morgan. If you can get the fuck out of any involvement with them in any way, shape, or form, they're terrorists. I mean, I don't get how people can sit there and be, I would never fund a terrorist organization like Al-Qaeda and all this, but you would fucking fund JP Morgan, banking terrorists. It's fucking insanity. You have no problem with it. Get the fuck out of these trash fucks. Get into places, follow the money, follow the smart money into places like this to where they're like, all right, we don't need to be involved with banks and all their fucking CDs and their bullshit that park it here for 5 fucking years so then you can get 3%. Fucking take your 3% and stick it up your ass. Fucking 5 years. Well, give me $5, $10, $12,000 for 3%, $20,000, $50,000. I'll go ahead and rehypothecate it to millions, and then I'll pay you a couple $1,000. Fuck off, banker. He said they're just fucking trash. And what are they doing still? They're all still, to this day, living in the fucking Magnificent Seven. And I've told you that they're all still on that same fucking hill. They're all backed into the same corner, and they're all gonna fucking drown on it. You have all your hedge funds backed onto the same hill, living off life support. You have AMC turning around. Once again, if Dune 2 would have been in this quarter, AMC would have been profitable 3 straight quarters in a row. And that is 3 straight quarters ahead of expectation. Aron said he expects us to be fully profitable in 2024. He's been saying that for a while. Well, guess what? We're 3 quarters ahead of that, and we should, again, would have been profitable this time. Next year, you will have more releases, and I showed you will have better quality releases. So, guys, the future for AMC is bright. Everything for us is turning around. Everything for them is completely getting fucked. And on top of that, we already talked about the ninja loans. We talked about the 2008 financial crisis. I showed you guys the new mortgage-backed securities that they created in auto-backed securities. And I showed you that auto loans currently are at the highest default in history. Auto loans are at the highest default in history at the same exact moment that they created auto-backed securities and sold them to the market. So you're going to have a 2008 financial crisis in the car payments. You're going to have another one right here because what are they doing? We're going to have no down payments for minorities. Okay? We're going to have no down payments for minorities. Our ninja loans are coming back. How are these doing? How many people are going to default on these? We don't give a fuck. We've been told we've been discriminating, so we're not even going to check your shit. No down payment. We'll just give you the loan and see what happens. Because the government tells me we have to, and they'll probably maybe give me some stuff here on the side if I do this or whatever. We'll see what happens. But here's another thing. On top of that, the real estate market is the lowest level. Home sales right now are listen to this, are the lowest level since the National Association of Realtors began tracking this metric in 2001. The housing market is completely dead. And I told you this is what was going to happen. We're going to have a point where the housing market hits a peak and this bubble is so popped, I don't know, but something's going to prick it and it's going to go because you're at a stalemate, complete fucking stalemate. You're seeing mortgage lending units drop left and right. You're going to see realtor companies drop left and right. New homes being built, I already showed you, are becoming at a record low. Why? If I work in construction, if we'll take on 4 or 5 jobs at a time, of course. Most companies do. And what do? You work on a job, and you'll get paid when it's finished. Most people think, holy fuck, well, it doesn't usually take us two weeks to do jobs, but your boss has to get paid. You usually get paid when the job is done, and then he pays you guys. Sorry. So that's exactly what we need to start doing here. So you can't build new homes if you're sitting there going, hey, I have 5 new houses and I just built them. My crew's expecting payments, but I haven't sold a single fucking house yet. How am I going to pay them to say, can you guys go ahead and make me a couple more? No, they're not going to do it. So your new homes are going to come to a complete stall, which they have, and they're going to keep going lower and lower. People aren't going to be able to buy shit, and they're still not going to, like, this isn't going anywhere unless you start dropping prices or rates drastically. Well, that's not coming, because if you drop rates, lending's going to have to go right back up, and your inflation's going to come right back up at a pretty and it's not like, and here's the thing, because they say they dropped it to this point, but the thing is everything is so bad that one small little boom, inflation's not just going to jump, a little bit next time. It's going to spike because it's already left off on the brink to where it's not just going to go boop. It's going to go boom, and it's going to take a giant leap, and that's what they can't risk. They can't risk that, and that's what they're sitting. Like I said, the people that are sitting there worried about this, guys. You see them, they're aging. They're literally aging years by the day because they know their fucking shit's cooked. They know, the government knows they're fucked because they're going, no matter what we do, this will get worse. This will get worse. Well, this is coming to a standstill. This is coming to a standstill. Our bubbles can't get any more inflated. And what are we doing? We're creating fucking more. We're creating more. And instead, guys, look at this spike. You're talking in a matter of months, 131 billion was borrowed in loans. They went out and said, we need 131 billion in loans to fucking stay afloat and do this and this. It's a fucking gong show. You're already seeing others, other countries going fucking crazy. We're going to go into this still too, which is going to also have ripple effects here because they can't stop this shit. They can't. And all these other countries, we already went into the derivatives. I want you guys, I'm going to post up a link here quick. I don't care if you don't like me. I don't give a fuck I don't care about anything. If you want to understand some things, if you want to get educated on what is happening, watch this documentary. Watch this documentary. I'm going to put this here. I want everybody to watch this. It's an hour long. It's called The Great Taking. I'm going to play like 15 seconds real quick, 25 seconds, 30 seconds, just to get your interest in here. Because this documentary, this guy worked in all this stuff. And everything he's talking about, we know these things that are going on, but he gets into more and more details and stuff we don't even know about.
I noticed that fund flows were very large relative to the size of the US economy, for example, or the global economy. So I started to look at the scale of money creation by the Federal Reserve, and I developed the insight that the Fed was actually influencing the financial markets, which no one would be surprised at today, but at that time it was considered conspiracy theory, even by my partners. This was something I could not talk to people about, but I began studying it myself. And I saw that in individual weeks, the scale of new money created was on the order of 1% of US GDP or more. Now, what that meant, given that the US economy was growing at maybe 3 or 4% in a good year, to have money creation on that scale in a single week, it meant that the money creation was far outstripping any real economic growth. So the transmission mechanism for money.
I mean, dude, this guy breaks down every single aspect in such great detail and everything we're seeing now, everything you're seeing today. I highly, highly, highly recommend watching that document. Again, did I put that link up there? No, it didn't copy. Hold on. Damn it, did I just close it? Otherwise, here's a little thing. Here's a website here too. It's got the PDF. It's called The Great Taking. Like I said, it's David Roger Webb. Very, very, very informative video here. But look at my eye here, dude. I got smoked, dude. Make sure you always keep your glasses on at all times, guys. You know, when you're on the job site, even when you're walking off, going over to Home Depot quick to going over to Home Depot to get supplies. Trust me, keep them on still until you get all the way to your car. But here's the thing. Ever since the Federal Reserve was created, if you look at the dollar's buying power, it's basically lost 98% of its purchasing power from dilution, from printing. We already went over 2020. We already went over how they printed. We had $4 trillion in existence, and then they came and printed 16 trillion. And they said, where did inflation come from? You printed 4 times all of the current money in existence. Is that not fucking insanity to you? I mean, think how fucking insane that is. 80% of all US dollars in existence were printed in the last 22 months. We went from 4 trillion in January of 2020 to 20 trillion in October 2021. Where did inflation come from? Why is our economy so fucked? Because you printed $16 trillion and gave it to mega corporations and criminals, and you funneled it out of the country and all over the place, and you didn't put a single penny back into the economy. You didn't take a single penny of that and buy back some of your debt. Nothing. You basically mismanaged it all, and now you're wondering why our country's so fucked up. All right, let me ask a 2-year-old what they think. You know what I mean? How did we get here? Your government is not our friend. The Federal Reserve is a fucking scam. There you go. But if you want, here's that link though. If you got Twitter, guys, and you want to just watch that link. Like I said, it's a very, very informative documentary. Very informative documentary. I highly recommend it. I don't recommend videos often, but that's one I very, 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 very recommend. Oh, here we go. All right. Now, one of the things I wanted to show everybody, you know, we always knew when the bankers were going to get fucked up, they were going to start crying and protesting. Well, you know that new Javier guy over in Argentina? Well, he's fucking them up the ass. Like, he's destroying them every which way. He's doing new regulations, this and that. Look how funny this is. You have bankers in Argentina. Oh, fuck, I don't need to hear him. You got bankers in Argentina protesting. They don't like it. They don't like the new reforms. They don't like that they can't steal from their citizens. Hey, everyone else is doing it around the world. Why can't we? This is bullshit. I mean, look at this guy. Look at this fucking guy right here. That is your typical hedge fund banking tool beggar. You know he fucking is. He knows he's a criminal and doesn't care. Look at the guy over his shoulder. What do you notice? Looks like a fucking criminal. What about this guy? Notice how they all look like the same fucking douchebag? Look at over this dude's right shoulder. They all got a massive fucking nose, giant stomach. They're all balding, and they're all fucking, you can just tell. Look at them. Those expressions alone. You know they steal from people every day and don't care. Fuck them. So, they're over here protesting. Well, I want people to understand, our banks were doing the same thing. You guys, our bankers, when's the last time you heard bankers come out and protest? The only difference between our bankers protesting and these guys is our bankers went to a courtroom with Congress and they were crying about crypto and they were crying about the new regulations and they're crying about endgame. We don't want endgame. We don't want the new endgame regulations. We don't want phase 3 endgame. Of course you don't. It makes it so you can't be harder to be fucking criminals. And you're already struggling. You're already losing people. You're already losing the only way you guys can make profits. Your customers' deposits. Your customers' debts that they owe you. Fuck off. The interest payments attached to the customer's debts. Yeah, we know. Fuck off. Oh, don't worry. We'll also repackage all that debt and debt into some junk bonds and sell those at some shitty fucking interest rate. Yeah, we know. Fuck off. Oh, don't worry. We're going to manage all of our risk. Do you guys remember this? Do you guys remember this shit? Hold on. What the fuck were they called? Was it transfers? Do you remember they just came out with these? When I showed you guys these, like, they came out with them like 3 fucking months ago. It's these risk asset transfers. Do you guys remember that? So there was that bank. Who the fuck was that bank? What? Oh, was it AM Trust? It was, dude. So you got these banks now. No, it was like JP. No, I think it's Bank of America. Whatever. I'm not going to get into the bank. I'll figure it out and I'll put it at the bottom. There's that bank that came out, remember? And they were like, oh, I think it was Bank of America. Bank of America's like, we're coming up with these new assets. We're creating these new assets, and they're called risk transfers. Risk transfer assets. What? So they're able to go ahead and say, I'm over leveraged on this stock position. And what I'm going to do is take the risk attached to it. I'm going to package it up, and I'm going to send it to some unsuspecting citizens. I'm going to pay those citizens as a bond. I'm going to pay those citizens 1%, 2%. And then if I get caught, if I default on this play, I don't get margin called. I just default on the bond, and then I just default on the bond. And the fucking citizens who bought my risk attached to my trade, they get fucked. People wondering, well, how are these guys getting out of margins? Because they're transferring their risks to you guys. Remember that shit? You remember that just came out like a couple months ago? I'm pretty sure it was Bank of America. Let me see. Bank. It was... Maybe it wasn't Bank of America. It was... I'll figure it out. But whatever. So, like I said, the shit that these guys are fucking doing, they know. These bankers, the fact that they're protesting around the fucking world, including the United States. Remember when Jamie Dimon's like, crypto's a joke. They use it to launder money. They use it to avoid tax avoidance. And they use it to, what the fuck was it? Fraud and criminal activities. You mean like banks do when JP Morgan processes $1 billion in human trafficking for sex crimes with Jeffrey Epstein? You mean stuff like that? You mean all the 274 violations that you guys have done, which is fraud, criminal activities? Fuck off. So again, guys, they're backed on the same hill. Banks are taking fucking hits left and right. Next year, they're going to get fucked. And AMC is on a track to do very, 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 very well to where we, again, are going to be able to pay our debt down without dilution going forward. In 2025 movies are even better than 2024. 2025 will be an insanely profitable year for AMC. But guys, once again, if we would have had Dune 2, we would have definitely had a third profitable quarter in a row. I just want everybody to understand that. When these earnings come out, if we aren't profitable, we would have been. All right. Does anyone have any questions at all? Oh. So that's the other thing that happened. So when these fucking piece of shit politicians start getting caught and shit and told on, they start to tell on themselves. So basically this fucking Republican Mr. Timmy here comes out and tells, I mean, I know it's Fox, so take it with a grain of salt, but sometimes they do tell you the truth. And this is something I truly believe because, you know, they're all corrupt criminals, and if they don't take their bribes, we all know they come after them another way. But doesn't change the fact, hey, politician, just don't be a sleazy piece of shit and bring a fucking hooker up to a hotel. It's pretty simple.
You're out of the country or out of town, or you're in a motel or bar in DC, and some whatever you're into, women or men or whatever, comes up and they're very attractive and they're laughing at your jokes and you're buying them a drink. Next thing you know, you're in the motel room with them naked, and next thing you know, you're about to make a key vote, and what happens? Some well-dressed person comes up and whispers in your ear, "Hey man, there's tapes out on you. Were you in a motel room on whatever with whoever?" And then you're like, "Uh-oh," and said, "You really ought not be voting for this thing."
So, I mean, they blackmail each other. It's this and that. But again, don't be a piece of shit. If you're a married old guy like yourself, guess what you should probably not be doing? If you look like you, what do you think a hooker's after? It's definitely not your old man looks. So again, it doesn't excuse your shitty behavior. Just don't do that shit. Don't put yourself in a position. It's very simple. But, again, fucking the corruption, man. Like I said, it fucking blows my mind. Hey, MC, how are you doing, buddy? Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. I hope everybody had a happy holiday. I just got back in town yesterday, and the first day I get back, I go to work and get smoked in the eye. So that was a lot of fun. All right, let's see if anyone has any questions. What about the equity swap? And that's the other thing. I mean, we saw that equity swap, and I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that. They might roll it over like they always fucking do. They'll find a way. But even the cost of rolling it over is to me insane. Somebody eventually is going to have to take that hit. It just makes no fucking sense. You can roll over that amount. And for people to say, well, it was just a default value. Okay, that makes sense. I also did programming, but you always have the same default value. That default value is programmed into the system. So if it was going to be a default value or no value at all, it would always say the 9999999. It would be the same as that default value. But the fact that you have higher amounts, you also have notional value amount, and then you have the cost amount. So you have different columns. So it's like the fact you have, that one swap that I showed you guys was like 100. I don't even know what that was, dude. That was like a quadrillion. That thing was insane. That was the biggest number I've ever seen. But if that was fake or whatever the hell it is, it wouldn't have defaulted to that value. But I don't know. Maybe every single system, I guess, is showing different values, but it's like if it's clearing it, the clearing system should show the same fucking value across the board. So I'm not sure, man. What I'm guessing you're saying, what is the Taylor Swift Beyonce revenue based on 10.53? Well, what did they do domestically? They did like 200. They did like 200, like, I don't know. I don't know what Beyonce did off the top of my head. Probably like 30, I'd say like 35, 37 million or 40 million or something like that. I honestly don't know. But if you add that with Taylor Swift, 180 million here. So you have like 220 million. So AMC is probably going to get what? 220. They'll probably get like what? 100 there. Merchandise. I'm sure, and distribution. I'm sure around, they'll get like 195 million from them both. 200 million, which is a still fucking big fucking increase, big income there. Maybe more, because I don't know. That's the thing. It's so hard to... I'm probably lowballing distribution. I don't know. Because they had distribution on fucking merchandise. I honestly can't answer that off the top of my head. I wish I could see the details of their contracts and then give you one, but that would be me estimating. Why does it rain? I know this answer, man. Too much precipitation, or too much fucking moisture gets into the air, into the clouds, into the atmosphere, and boom. Tickets were $19.89 for what, Beyonce? Yeah, I don't know what Beyonce's numbers were. I honestly don't know. I could look it up, but sure that's the wifey. She's probably about to bust in here. Yeah, that's the wifey. I gotta go help her park the car. We have too many cars in the driveway, so I gotta like angle this thing in. She doesn't want to hit one of the trucks here, so. All right, if no one else has any questions, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be live tomorrow with Peter Hahn. We've confirmed our time. We'll go over whatever you guys want to talk about. I have a ton of questions I already want to ask him. But I will definitely be doing that around 12, 1 o'clock. Make sure to run Murphy early this day. She's probably like, hurry up. All right, there's a car behind her, so I'll talk to you guys tomorrow here. I hope everyone has a good night. Thank you. Happy holidays.